Hello, and thank you for stopping by. Today we are going to do a 2026 Lakers mock offseason. I've been very excited to get to this team because they have such an interesting summer ahead of them. Austin Reeves is an unrestricted free agent. Arguably the greatest player of all time is a free agent off of their books. And above both of those things, we have to look to see what are the best ways to build this team around Luka Doncic long term. Now, to build this team, we are working with limited draft assets. We have a total of 3 tradable first-round picks and only 1 tradable second-round pick. However, the one thing that we do have at our disposal is cap space. So the goal is to explore a couple different ways that we can weaponize our cap space in this apron era of the NBA and see how we can build this team heading into the 2026-2027 NBA season. Looking at the Lakers roster, it's pretty clear to see why this offseason is so intriguing. You have Luka Doncic, and then the next best player who's under contract for next season is Jake LaRavia. All of these players are either free agents or have team or player options that we'll have to figure out what to do with. So it is draft night, and the Los Angeles Lakers are officially on the clock. The target that I had in mind for us is still here, available on the board. Terrace Reed is a traditional center who I think could pair well with Luka Doncic. He's a safe prospect, but when you look at ceiling for him, it's not as high as someone like Jaden Quaintance, who also fell to us. Jaden Quaintance has the potential to be the best defensive center in this class, one of the better defensive centers in the league. However, he has some injury concerns with his right knee. Our medical team actually flagged that it could be an issue long term. But with that being said, at 25, I can't help but take the upside swing. We're going to take Jaden Quaintance at 25. All it really takes is for one team picking ahead of the Lakers to feel comfortable with his medicals to take Quaintance off the board. There's been a couple of recent mock drafts that have him falling even past the Lakers in the first round. So I don't think it's fully out of the realm of realism. I just don't know if he actually falls this far on draft night, but we're going to take him. Moving on to our options here, these make sense. I think Austin Reeves is very obviously going to decline. DeAndre Ayton is probably going to opt into his player option, and we are going to accept Bronny James's team option. Realistically, his salary is $2.3 million, and half of it about is guaranteed. So if we were to cut him, we would still be paying half of his salary. And I do think he's shown enough to make this team and just see what happens long term. Before we get into some of the moves the Lakers are going to make, we're going to see some of the moves made around the league. Jalen Duren is going to be brought back by the Pistons on a 5-year deal starting at $30 million a year. Ayo Dosunmu is going to get brought back by the Timberwolves on a 4-year deal starting at right under the mid-level exception. At this point, all signs are pointing to James Harden being back with the Cleveland Cavaliers, so they're going to give him a 1+1. The Utah Jazz are going to retain Walker Kessler on a 4-year deal worth $100 million. We are going to get our first Shams notification of our video for the Los Angeles Lakers, where we're going to be trading Dalton Knecht and our 2031 first-round pick, along with a 2030 first-round swap to the New Orleans Pelicans for Herb Jones. Herb Jones is coming off of a season where he played just 56 games and offensively did not look that good. 38% from the floor, 30% from 3. I know that looks bad, but I just wonder what it could look like next to a guy like Luka. Could he get back to league average from 3? He's had a season where he shot 40%, and then he's had a season where he shot just below league average at about 34%. In those 56 games, Herb averaged about 2 stocks a night, and I just think that he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. So having him to pair next to Luka is exactly what we need. Additionally, we did bring Marcus Smart back to a 3-year, $18 million deal, so he gets about what he was making, just extended. So one of the keys for us using our cap space is understanding that we have Austin Reeves bird rights. So what that means is that we can use our cap space and then bring Austin Reeves back after that, so that way it doesn't interfere with how much cap space that we have. So realistically, the Lakers are working with about $40 million in cap space. That Herb Jones trade that I just pulled off took about $10 million of that cap space. And not only that, it did hard cap us to the first apron because we took in more salary than we sent out. So I mentioned finding ways that we can weaponize our cap space, and one of the avenues that you can do that is restricted free agency. Now, the Denver Nuggets are a team that are in a pretty bad spot cap-wise. They're looking to try to shed cap so that they can retain their restricted free agent, Peyton Watson. And Peyton Watson, before he got injured this year, had an incredible season. It looked like he was breaking out, potentially a most improved player candidate. And on top of all of that, he's a really good defender. So I think him next to Luka, Herb Jones, and Marcus Smart is kind of a perfect fit. On top of that, he's only 23 years old, and so I think he's just going to continue to grow. So what does that look like for us? Right now, I think Peyton Watson is in the $20 to $22 million a year range. So what we would have to do to pry him away from them is to make things uncomfortable for the Nuggets. They have to have a number that is just too high for them to match. This, I think, could be it. If we have this contract start at $32 million a year, so the number next year for the Nuggets is too high for them to eat, and then descend for us over time, so that way it gets a little bit better. That's one of the things that teams will do to try to pry these free agents from their teams. Another thing that teams do is add things like a player option to make it a little more player friendly of a contract. And then another thing that we're going to do is add a no trade clause to this contract as well. So we're really setting ourselves up for this move to blow up in our face. But in order to be able to pry him from the Nuggets, you have to do all of those little things with this contract. So we are going to extend this offer sheet to Peyton Watson. I know it's crazy. I know it's overpaying, but my thought process behind it is if his contract descends over time and Austin Reeves' contract is set to get bigger over time, it could kind of balance each other out. So we're going to offer this to Peyton Watson. So if for some reason Denver does decide to match that offer sheet, I don't think they will, because it would put them in a terrible spot. It might put us in a bad spot. I'm not sure, but if for some reason they do decide to match it, we're still going to use that to our advantage. We're going to call up Denver and say, hey, you have a guy like Christian Brown, or you have a guy like Cam Johnson that we can take off your hands and help clear up some of that cap space that you guys need. So let's see if they decide to match this contract. So it doesn't look like Denver is willing to match that offer, which is awesome. However, with a move like this, it does come with having to renounce LeBron James. It feels crazy to be doing this. I really do think he's the greatest player of all time, but this offseason is critical to building this thing around Luka Doncic. So would we rather have Peyton Watson at 23 years old, who is the exact archetype and a growing player that we would want around Luka, or would we rather have LeBron James at 41 years old? To me, it's a no-brainer. We're going to bring in Peyton Watson. We are going to get one more Shams notification here. The Detroit Pistons are going to be trading for Kyrie Irving from the Dallas Mavericks, and the way that we're going to get involved is by giving up a first-round pick in exchange for Isaiah Stewart. In doing this as well, we are getting off of Jared Vanderbilt's contract, which, like we talked about before, is at this point probably a negative asset. Now, bringing in Isaiah Stewart is the same exact thought process as all the other moves that we've made so far this offseason. Isaiah Stewart, if he had met the minutes threshold in games played, I think he had a real shot at an all-defensive team last year. He was that good as a rim protector. So he's going to get more of an opportunity to play next to Luka. And on top of that, I do think he also has some potential to space the floor. I know he's shooting below league average the last few seasons, but he has shown the willingness to step out and shoot it. And then our last move here is going to be to sign Austin Reeves to his 5-year, $197 million extension. And again, we have that set to ascend over time. So it's starting at $34 million and then up from there. After all of those moves, it does put us at around a total of $192 million in our team salaries. We do have a couple more spots to fill on our roster, and one thing to keep in mind is we are hard capped to the first apron. So $192 million, the first apron is at around $209, so we have about $17 million in cap space to work with here. One of the last tools we have at our disposal to build this roster out is our room mid-level exception. Now, what that is about a $9 million a year, 3-year contract that we can give out. We're not going to give the full thing out here, but we are going to use it to bring Luke Kennard back. Every year, Luke Kennard is a very valuable player on the market because he's one of the best shooters on the planet. And for us, we did go out and get a couple guys that maybe have some questionable shooting. So we want to make sure that we bring him back to keep that shooting and spacing around Luka. Now, this one is a move that I would love for the Los Angeles Lakers. If Keon Ellis were to test the open market and find that there's nothing other than the vet minimum out there for him, would he just take the option to come play next to Luka, increase his value, and then potentially opt out of a player option next year and get a bigger payday? That could be a possibility. I don't know if there is going to be more than the minimum out there for him. He didn't get a chance to play much in the playoffs for the Cavs, but we're going to offer it to him and see if he's willing to take it. He will accept that deal. To fill the last spot on our roster, we are going to sign Matisse Thybulle to a vet minimum. One thing we did do is make sure that LeBron found his way to the Warriors. There's been a lot of rumors from the Warriors that they want to pair him with Steph. So just to make sure that he has a good last year, we sent him to Golden State. Okay, so building this rotation out heading into the season, we have Luka, Austin Reeves, Herb Jones, Peyton Watson, and DeAndre Ayton, Isaiah Stewart, Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Jake LaRavia, and Keon Ellis all off the bench. As we get ready to start this season, I'm pretty nervous to see how Peyton Watson plays. As you know, we just paid big for Peyton Watson here, $30 million a year, and he was right at about 15 points a game last year. During January of 2026, he looked like he would be worth every dollar that we just paid him. He was named Player of the Week in January. He averaged about 25, 8, and 4 that week, and still played lights out defense. So we're hoping to get more of that growth out of him, but we'll see as we head into Game 1. Game 1 here is going to be against the Utah Jazz, and we win. All right, so Luka does what Luka does, 41, 2, and 14. Peyton Watson steps up, so he's 23, 6, 5, 3 steals and a block, 50% from the floor, 50% from 3. I hope that is the Peyton Watson experience for us. All right, so in game 1 of the season, Marcus Smart twisted his left knee, so we're going to be without him for a couple days here. We're going to fill that space with a Matisse Thybulle rotation, a couple more minutes to Keon Ellis and Luke Kennard. Oh man. Okay, so we just beat the Grizzlies 155 to 142 in regulation, which is a really bad sign for our defense. I think a lot of what we did this offseason was to build this team defensively, and that is not indicative of a good defense at all. Also, Peyton Watson, so far we got 2 completely different performances out of him, so we're going to look to see if we get more consistency throughout the season. All right, our first big test of the season comes against the San Antonio Spurs, and we get killed. So in this game, we let up a 51-point fourth quarter, but letting up 145, 142, and 119 in the first week is not ideal. So simming week 2 of the season, Herb Jones pulled a muscle in his lower back, so we are going to be without his services for a couple weeks. And I know what we're all thinking. I traded for an injury-prone player, and of course he gets injured, but I think if we can make sure that he's healthy come playoff time, it'll all be worth it in the end run. All right, so 1 month into the season, we are 7-7. That's less than ideal, but there was a lot of turnover with this roster, so we are going to hope that throughout the season they grow as a team. All right, so we are coming up here on the end of 2026, and we are 7th in the conference, 15-15. Right now, Luka's averaging 24, 7, and 9. Austin Reeves is at 21, 4, and 5. Peyton Watson is at about 20, 5, and 2, but he is averaging almost 3 stocks a night. Looking at efficiency, Luka's been unbelievable. 54, 50% from 3. Austin Reeves, 52, 39. And then Peyton Watson, 50, 36. So his 3-point shooting is just about league average. Luke Kennard is shooting well. Jake LaRavia not shooting all that well from 3. Isaiah Stewart is up over league average, which is nice. Marcus Smart, Herb Jones was shooting well before he got hurt. Pretty bad week. Honestly, it feels like most of them are bad weeks. Just trying to see why we're struggling so bad. In terms of offense, we are 13th in the league, and we are bottom 5 in defense, which is pretty disappointing to see considering all of the moves that we did this offseason were to help improve defensively. Okay, so we're kind of desperate to try to improve defensively here. So what I'm going to do is move Isaiah Stewart into our starting lineup, and we're going to let Jaden Quaintance get his first real run as an NBA player. So we're going to let Quaintance get about 20 minutes a night, Isaiah Stewart at 28. Let's see how this week goes with our new center rotation. All right, so we were 1-2, but at least these were regular NBA scores. You know, like we let up 117, 120, and 99. So defensively, it does show a little bit of growth. Jaden Quaintance in his first game playing minutes was 20, 10, and a block. And then he was also 13, 7, and 4 stocks against the Grizzlies. So I think he's earned another week in our rotation. So we just got another injury notification, and this time it's Luka broke his right forearm and will be out for 2 months. So luckily Austin Reeves is back, but this season is just not going well. So we are at the trade deadline, and I think I ruined the Lakers. Seeing all these L's on this schedule is nuts to me. I had no idea that this team was going to be that bad, and obviously we've been struggling with injury throughout the season with Luka and Austin Reeves. But we have to try to think of something we can do. The things that come to mind right now are DeAndre Ayton is making about $8 million, and then Jake LaRavia is making $6 million. Jake LaRavia is having a really bad year, and then DeAndre Ayton basically got played out of the rotation by a rookie and Isaiah Stewart. So we're going to see if there's anything we can get for $14 million. All right, so hoping to save our season here, we're going to see if the Clippers will take Jake LaRavia and our second round pick for Chris Dunn. They do. After acquiring Chris Dunn, our rotation right now is going to be Chris Dunn at the 1, Austin Reeves, Herb Jones, Peyton Watson, and Isaiah Stewart. If that's a bad defensive lineup, I'm sorry. I got nothing. Off the bench, we have Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Jaden Quaintance, Keon Ellis, and Matisse will play a shift for us as well. Okay, so leading into the All-Star break here, we're going to see now in real time if Chris Dunn was our savior. I don't know, man. We did not have a single All-Star. LeBron did make an All-Star team, so good for you, buddy. Coming out of the All-Star break, nothing is good. Still a bad team. Jaden Ivey just put up 26 on us. I mean, come on. So right now, we are 6 games out of making the play-in. I don't trust Sacramento, and the teams ahead of us, I do think there's a chance that we catch. So we're going to try to put together a lineup that actually can win some games here and try to make a push for that play-in. With Luka coming back from his broken forearm, no minutes restriction at all. I'm so sorry. You got to get right back into the mix, buddy. Jaden Quaintance has been having an awesome rookie season, and this has been without Luka creating for him. So we're just hoping to see that this continues to grow as the year goes on. It's now or never. We got Luka back. We're running with our defensive center rotation, and we got Chris Dunn backing up Luka. So let's see what happens this week. It's kind of sad that 2-2 is progress. Like, I felt really good about that. So another week down of just letting up 140 points in 2 games. It just does not make sense to me. All right, we get a win against the Nets here, and we beat the Timberwolves. That's a really big win for us. It just seems like the schedule won't let up. But we just beat the Nuggets here. Austin Reeves, Luka, and Peyton Watson, our big 3. Call me crazy. I genuinely didn't think it was that bad. Vintage Klay Thompson against us. There we go. Herb! Remember earlier when I just said Herb needs to be healthy for the playoffs and we'll be all right? Oh boy, don't let us get hot. Don't let us get hot. All right. Ant drops 50 on us. I'm getting ahead of myself. But Peyton Watson's at 31, 6-5 on the night, 21, 6-5 for Luka. We're up to 11th in the conference. Let's take a look. Okay, so we are 3 games behind the Clippers, 4 games behind the Mavericks, with 2 weeks left in the season. That's going to be tough. Looking at the Clippers, they are somewhat banged up. Kawhi twisted right knee. Isaiah Jackson and Keaton Wagler are both out. So maybe there's a chance. Maybe we do catch them here. We just have a tough set of games. All right, so we are duking it out with OKC right now. And they're just pulling ahead in the 4th. Oh, man. We do beat the Trailblazers. So I don't think mathematically we can even catch either of the play-in teams at this point. Let's see. Cool. Pick the perfect time to get hot. So Wemby will win MVP. AJ DeBonsa wins Rookie of the Year. Kobe White, Sixth Man of the Year. Wemby Depoy. Zachary Ricochet. Paolo Banchero wins Clutch Player of the Year. Chris Finch, Coach of the Year. And I sure know that we are not the Executive of the Year. Oh, man. Nothing on first team. Nothing on second team. And Luka makes third. We got nothing on the all defensive teams. Shocking. Jaden Quaintance did make second team All NBA. Oh! We did catch the Clippers. We are the 10th seed. It said that they clinched the play-in, so I thought that we just couldn't do it. Okay, let's take a look at seeding. So Minnesota is the 1 seed. OKC is 2. San Antonio 3. Portland 4. Denver 5. Golden State 6. Good for you, Bron. Clearly I made the wrong choices. Houston is 7. Phoenix 8. Dallas 9. And we are 10. In the East, we have Orlando, Detroit, New York, Cleveland, Atlanta, Miami, Boston, Toronto, Brooklyn, and Indiana. I'm genuinely nervous. I don't know why it feels like my real job is on the line. But this is a huge game for us. So I'm going to make sure we check coaching adjustments and make sure that things look good. I told you Herb just has to be ready for the postseason. So we're going to put Herb on Cooper Flag and just try to double team him as soon as he starts to drive the ball and force their perimeter guys to shoot the ball. Let's see if it pays off. We are going to simcast this one. Oh no. Okay, we're catching up a little bit here. We need a big fourth. It's just not happening. Oh my goodness. I have to watch this team. I have to at least see them once. How can they be this bad? We're going to jump in and just see. All right. Well, that's how bad they are. I jump in and they immediately let up an and one. All right, Luka. They're playing Ryan Nembhard. I'm so sick to my stomach. I can't believe this. Luka. At some point this season, I did set it to play through our superstar, and Luka's just sitting in the corner while Herb runs a pick and roll. Cool. This is crazy. So Luka can't score on Ryan Nembhard, which is just... This is bad hoops. We're putting in the bench. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so we are 1 minute and 4 seconds away from my job as the Lakers GM coming to an end. And I think I genuinely stand by what I did. I know that sounds crazy considering how bad this season was, but we fought through some injuries, and really we tried to... Oh, Luka's back out there. But we tried to just set this thing up for Luka to have these wings who can defend and do a little bit more long term next to him. When he was successful in Dallas, it was a secondary playmaker like Kyrie Irving, and then it was wings and a good center rotation. I think we had that. I really do. So I think realistically, I don't think that this team would be this bad. Especially because the tricky part is it was defensively how bad we were. It was all on the defensive end. So our season ends with us not even breaking the 100-point mark. Luka, 13, 11, and 5. Only took 13 shots. It's just embarrassing. Embarrassing. All right, so it's going to be the Timberwolves and the Celtics. I think I forgot to mention some of the trades made around the league in this video. But John Morant is a Timberwolf and Giannis is a Celtic, so this is a pretty fun matchup if I wasn't so bummed right now. All right, so Anthony Edwards gets his first championship. All right, so just to recap, I brought the Lakers to a 35-47 record on the year, to be eliminated by the Dallas Mavericks in the first round of the play-in as the 10th seed. So overall, that sim did not work in our favor at all. I genuinely stand by a lot of the moves that I did. I think overpaying Peyton Watson was rough, but he was honestly like our most consistent player all season, between Luka being hurt, Austin Reeves being hurt, and then just flat out, Peyton Watson was better than Austin Reeves. So I don't know, I feel like a lot of the moves that I made were to build a good defensive team. They were terrible defensively. I think I'm blaming it on the simulation for it. Maybe I'm in denial, but I very clearly just ruined the Lakers. So as a Trailblazers fan, I love it, but I'm so sorry to anyone else who wasted your time watching this. So Rob Pelinka, if you're watching this, which I know you are, just basically watch that and use it as like a what not to do video, and you guys should be pretty good, smooth sailing to win a championship next year. This has been a 2026 Lakers mock offseason. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for ruining the Lakers. Take care and God bless.